the Too Much Dip podcast. My name is Dave. I come from Duncanville, Texas. I'm hosting. Joining me to produce is Randy Trimbacki.
Hi, Dave. I come from Dyer, Indiana.
All right.
No, it's
Gary
Gary.
already.
No,
You're from Gary.
I'm not.
Surprised
from
you're not
Gary.
claiming Chicago again.
No.
Oh, it's not fair. It's not
Hey,
fair.
Grew up on the border.
Sure. Here's a guy in studio. He's just a native Austinite. Dylan Shivery.
Dylan Shivery here. Yes, I hail from right here in Austin, Texas. The streets of Northwest Hills is the hood I claim.
Okay.
You know what it is? Anderson Trojans.
Mm.
We were not
The irony.
not good in football, but pretty good in baseball. Pretty good.
We're treating this as if we have like just a flood of new listeners. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why it took us down this path, but you never know. We might. So hello and welcome, new listeners. Let's kick it out to Wisconsin. We're live via remote
Technology.
technology and stuff. KJ Ellis.
Hello. Happy to be back, fellas. Thank you for carrying on in my absence.
But where are you from?
Arlington, Texas, represent home of Wet and Wild, Hurricane Harbor. Some of you might know it. I too grew up on the border, a Brinker Enterprise, great chips and salsa. That's all I can add about on the border. I can't think of another item. Chain restaurants and
no.
amusement parks. That's my youth.
I wouldn't consider those great chips or salsa.
Couldn't tell you a single thing about them.
No.
To be honest.
Hey, were you familiar with the late, the great JJ Joe?
Yes. In fact, I was. It's very terrible, sad news to hear about the passing of Arlington Lamar legend JJ Joe. I was fortunate to have met him a handful of times. His nephew, Xavier, was a member of the teams that I played on during those years. But JJ was always like, I don't want to say this as an insult to anyone else, myself or otherwise, but like North Arlington traditionally was more of a suburban, predominantly white school. That changed dramatically, like right around the time that I attended and thereafter. But he was always brought back by our head coach as kind of the example to maybe the non-white athletes, if you want to put it a certain way, of like, you can go on to be extremely successful in sports and in business and life afterwards. And he'd show up in a suit and talk to us about business stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I was invited back to do something similar like years later. And all I could think of in my head was like, okay, what did I take away from that? And like, what do I remember? But I don't know. It was just one of those people that you kind of stuck with you. You knew they were an example of something positive. So whatever.
Former Baylor
I know a lot of
quarterback.
people don't care, but it was sad to see. Yeah, Baylor great too.
Baylor great. Yeah, passed away, heart attack. Only 54, man. Too young. Man, I wonder if they'll bring you back and play some of your Too Much Dip highlights.
No. One of the benefits of moving out of state was to be able to like politely decline those items whenever I was like, man, I've got a bag. And every year that I'm happy to ever do anything in that capacity. But the sheer amount of fear that goes through my heart of like, I don't want to end up on somebody. If initially was like, I don't want to get Snapchatted. I don't want to become a meme. Like now, whatever it would be right now. I don't know. Like, I don't want somebody to be like, give me my money and me not know what to do in response. Like, I'm just not prepared to interact with the youth at this age. It scares me.
I get it. I'm not prepared at all. I niece and nephew, it's just like, man, I don't have much in common with you. I'm significantly older, but they're just into different things, man.
Like either Dylan undersells it or doesn't tell us enough about that, or just makes it look way easier than it should be. And I don't mean about parks, but like the friends and you know what I mean, being in those spaces around like the rest of his teams and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean they're a little bit older now. Parks is 10. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty good with the little ones, man. I am. I think so. I like to mix it up.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's entering the danger zone. Like you're seeming like, oh no, it's getting easier. Like for me, like that's when the fear would begin from now until like 7 years from now.
No, Parkus comes to me with some was like some real life shit he talks about, which is it's kind of fun, but it's also like, oh my God, you're growing up, man. I'm not ready for this. But yeah, we have real conversations, and it goes well for the most part. Yeah.
Is he getting rushed by any street gangs?
Yeah, he's narrowed it down to 2.
You don't have to say his top 2, but
Well, Latin Kings is number 1 currently, but
Heavy in the street.
he hasn't fully committed to them yet.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
MS-13 got kicked off campus.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
they had a bad class last year.
I'm glad you pulled that because my brain went to MK Ultra. It's like that's not it. That's not the right reference. My M Rolodex got mixed up.
No, and like, well, it's been tough ever since the Twin Peaks stuff. The Cossacks, the biker gangs have kind of taken a back seat.
Yeah.
Due
I
to
saw-
all the punishments and like sanctions that they received, right?
They lost their charter. Got their charter pulled.
There is a different kind of biker gang, but there's this group of teenagers. They have the electric dirt bikes,
Oh, dude.
and they are all over this neighborhood and around where I live and around where Parks' mother lives, and they are fuckers. And they do wheelies on the streets and they talk shit to people, and they're a real problem. There are next door posts about these kids all the time about just terrorizing people. They need to be stopped.
It should be pretty easy to narrow down who these kids are.
Yeah.
We've got this guy I'm about to refer to. I see him on my way home almost weekly as I go into South Austin. Instead of going Mopac, I kind of cut through. There's a guy who rides like a chopper, and he's got his like cool, like you see him from afar, you're like, oh fuck, this dude's repping. Like who's this? This is a Hell's Angel. His vest, leather vest, very clearly outlines that he is independent, as it says independent.
Oh.
He's not affiliated.
He's
He's a lone
neutral.
wolf. Yeah. Just so if you had any ideas about like
Damn.
pulling up to him and being like, hey,
That's a one-man wolf pack right there.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mess
dude.
with that guy.
I respect it as I
Yeah.
see him going to the HEB in South Austin to do his grocery shopping as an independent biker. Randy, I bet you've seen this guy. And just next time you see a dude on like a chopper going down Brody, check him out.
I'll keep an eye out.
Keep
Let's
an eye out.
see if he's independent. I'll see if he wants to join something.
Can I
He's independent.
use
so-
this as
He's
a
free
soft
agent.
segue as we're talking about biker gangs to segue us to sports, actually? I had a brief note, wasn't worth a rundown. Brief note on a headline that ESPN had regarding biker gang or about a gang. And let me send it over to Randy, and I'm taking too long to do this. But the headline wrote, Peak Performer, ex-gang member reaches open. That's all you see on the front page of ESPN. So, intriguing. What comes to mind there? Like, what are your wild guesses without knowing what this is referencing? First, which open was my thing. I was like, wait, it's not fucking golf. I don't think it's U.S. Open tennis season. Like, I had to go through my head, like, what the hell are you talking about? I think it's Australian Open, just to kind of jump to results there.
I saw this.
Yeah. So, again, I'm not saying that takes away from the importance of like the story here, but whatever. This was in New Zealand. Man's name is Ryan Peake, earns an Open Championship spot with the New Zealand win. And again, going back to gang member, if you throw that in the signature or in the headline, my brain is not thinking, hey, this is somebody on like a fucking scooter gang. And in fact, it is. Like, this is a guy who was previously in a bike gang, maybe motorcycle, but it just said street bike gang, who had been, in trouble for assault in the past and now has turned it around and is going to play in the Open Championship Sunday because he won the 104th New Zealand Open by one stroke.
Guy's a
in
stick.
Western Australia.
You made it sound like Scooter Gang is in the same ballpark as Biker Gang. And
Relative to MS-13 and everything, like we were kind of jesting about initially, like gangs, scooter gangs were closer to that than I would say.
I don't think there's a gang of like bird scooters that have just terrorize people and commit crimes together, but there could be. I don't know. Well, good for
Outlaw
him
Rebels
turning his life
gang
around.
in
That's a pretty cool
Australia.
story.
Damn. Well, this ties in with the story we have. I was just going to note, you see who's back at the Masters after doing 30 months?
Oh, the duck. Right.
El Pato. Pato?
On hell?
Angel Cabrera, who did 30 months for some Dom Vi adjacent harassment, assault
I
in his home
somehow
country.
missed that or forgot about it. One of the two.
Well, he's gonna be back at Augusta this year as a returning champion.
Is he still ripping cigs on the course?
You got to think he's not only ripping them, he's ripping them at a higher clip.
Okay.
Unless you could kick, unless like you kick it in prison. I feel like you don't.
From according to the movies I've seen, you can still get cigarettes in prison.
Yeah, you can maybe have somebody catapult them in, or maybe drop them in from a drone, or just bring them in his or her butthole.
Keister.
Keister.
It's a good old fashioned keister situation.
Understand, Randy?
I understand. I've been seeing just like people doing TikToks and stuff in prison and stuff. Like they're getting cell phones pretty easily.
They were doing
prison
other
now.
kind of videos too over in England.
Oh, yeah. So,
Yeah,
Guess
reminds
not that
me when
hard.
I was there.
oh yeah, when you're what were you in, when were you in prison?
Well,
what for?
I was having my wife at the time bring stuff in like a big overcoat. She was bringing in big old loaves of bread, Italian foods.
Oh.
We were living like kings. We were eating like kings. Me and the other guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all doing some time. We were just in there chopping it up. I'd mince the garlic. Nobody minced it like me.
What were we talking Rico? What were we in there for?
Just a bunch of shit.
Racketeering.
Racketeering, money
Mostly.
laundering,
Yeah.
influencing
Which
elections.
is 1,000% on the list of, hey, if I give you 10 seconds, can you explain racketeering to me? Like, I'm not going to have faith in many answers there. But shout out to the Idaho State Pen Pal account.
It's
I don't
kind
know
of
if you
a-
fellas are familiar with that, but if you're looking for love, check out the Idaho State Pen Pal. I'm sorry, Idaho Inmate Pen Pal account
I think
on
it's
IG and elsewhere.
kind of like a blanket term for organized crime is what racketeering is.
Racketeering.
It's a way to get the boss with the boss
Yeah.
at the top of the enterprise without him actually.
If you get booked on racketeering, you're the head of an organization.
Not just a really poorly sounding garage band. Terrible.
Okay.
They're not. You don't like. You're not a Jack White guy, huh?
The raconteurs I like, but I had to explain what racket was to my son at some point in reference to like noise. And I was like, I have no idea, man. I really have no answer for you.
You're really a suburban dad. If you hear some like young punks outside having a party or something, and you think to yourself, "What's that racket?" Yeah, I mean, if you ever have that thought, it's like, "Oh fuck, it's over."
It's like, all right. I'm about to get on my porch and shake my fist at someone.
What's all that racket out there?
Yeah, no one really says that unless they're 60 years or older.
Yeah. Well,
Anyhow,
here we are doing the show. Where do we begin? Do you want to start with Full Swing? Oh, you know what? Can I start with a major?
Bang the dip line?
No, but I have a dip line announcement.
Okay.
So, to serve us better on this show, to bring the viewer a voice, to give the viewer a voice, to give it to us and tell us, hey, what we're doing great. Maybe give us some stuff to do better, not just criticisms, but questions. I want you guys to bang the dip line. Oh, here's the confusing thing. The dip line is also the pipeline. 888-618-4422. Again, 888-618-4422. That's the number you call. We have a hotline now. And there's no sense in having two. I'm the one fielding the voicemails anyway. I don't mind deciphering between the two. So yeah, if you want to give us a call, sports caller, do it. 888-618-4422. There you go.
So the old dip line is dead.
The old dip line's dead.
Gotcha.
I need to cancel that line.
I thought we did.
I'll have to check.
I think we
It's
did.
not cheap, so I'll make sure we're not paying for it.
I'm pretty sure in our Great Purge of last year we
Okay.
did.
Great.
But who knows? Maybe we'll utilize Rocket Money and find out. Not a sponsor today, but just we could do that if we wanted to. So yeah, hit us up. We'll play your voicemails. We got a lot of look. We got some episodes to fill between now and football season, so do it. But let's start with Full Swing because it's back, season 3. Full disclosure: I am 1 episode deep in Full Swing.
I think that's fair to just say that's where we all are. I mean, Dylan could have finished it, but
Dylan's
Two
a
of the
Full
three of
Swing
us are pretty
connoisseur.
I watched 2 1/4.
a powerhouse. Man.
Episode 1. You're getting. At first, I didn't like it, but you're getting the free pub for Happy Gilmore. I gotta say, as much as I think this is going to disappoint me, I'm excited for the Happy Gilmore sequel. Can we start there?
Yeah.
You're getting a lot of tour guys, a lot of live guys participating. A lot of celeb cameos. Shooter's back. He looks good. He looks cleaned up. Dylan, you met him on 6th Street at Woodrow's one time.
He had some cleaning up to do, TBH.
Yeah.
Had a rough stretch there.
You got to see Scotty and the boys, their acting chops. This will be member berries. This will be a lot of nostalgia. We're going to see it. I'm glad that they kicked it off with a little bit of Full Swing Happy Gilmore edition.
Oh, I'm definitely excited for it. It's for me, it's a top 10 all-time comedy. Loved it. Adam Sandler, he's certainly had some misses later in his career, but high hopes with this one. I think he's going to pull through for us.
I'm all in on Happy Gilmore 2. I respect that Adam Sandler has turned what I think started as hey, do 3 movies for us into a 20 movie deal with Netflix. It's almost been a decade, I think, since he's had that relationship going. So shouts to him. I think it's better in that manner because his misses, I'm not you're not seeing trailers for it. You're not anticipating. You're not going out and paying money separately for it and then being disappointed. So I think that helps set the bar low. I'll put it right next to whatever I expected from Coming to America 2 or Coming to America when that came out a year or so ago. This might even be the cultural equivalent.
I was going to ask, and now that just answered my question, possibly. Is Adam Sandler the most successful SNL alum? Farrell, Eddie Murphy, Sandler. I mean, those are probably your 3, right?
Yeah, your 3 undeads. Yeah, for sure. I think longevity number, Farrell's probably well, shit, Eddie might be top earning.
Bill Murray.
No.
Oh, Bill Murray's got, a range too.
Dude, Adam Sandler
it's a tough 4.
He's made 50 movies at this point.
It feels like he prints money.
Yeah.
But Elf prints whatever Adam Sandler makes in 6, his Netflix deal, Elf probably makes every 3 years.
Yeah, there's still people out there who like Elf, so.
A lot of people.
And I have no idea what Eddie's ownership of his catalog is, but Nutty Professor might be right up there with Shawshank Redemption in terms of quality and rewatchability. And unfortunate amount of definitely does not hold up socially.
For the record, Shawshank is Morgan Freeman, not Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm saying people say that's one of the best movies of all time.
That's a mistake Randy would make.
I would not make that mistake. I'm trying to think because he has Happy Madison Productions. Does Will Ferrell actually have a production company?
Favreau and him, I think, did that, but Will Ferrell, famously producer behind Succession, him and Adam McKay were executive producer buddies up until the Lakers bit when Adam McKay was yeah, you're not being Howard Buss or whatever his name is, Jeannie's dad. I don't know why I can't think of his name. famous Lakers owner, started Showtime Lakers.
Mr. Bus.
Mr. Bus, who he gave to whatever C. Riley. I'm glad I'm coming with like 60% of the info today.
John C.
But yeah.
Riley?
John C. Riley. Like Farrell was doing producer shit for a minute now.
We got Rappaport back in the mix. Dylan Dethier. We got Amanda back in the seat.
All right, so back to Full Swing, just to make sure we're on the same page. So all in favor, ready to support Happy Gilmore 2.
Sure.
Don't know when it comes out. We'll worry about it when it gets here. We'll probably watch it. This is our third season, Full Swing. Aside, Happy Gilmore stuff aside, did you feel like, oh, wait, I know this formula when they start off with the coming up on this season? And you get like that montage on the front end of the episode as opposed to like you also get one later. Were you excited about that and like what you were seeing, what lies ahead?
What are you alluding to?
Are you alluding to Paige Sporanic appearing later on in the season? Because she does.
Oh, that was Paige.
Because they didn't drop her name. Yeah, they put everybody else's name up until hers.
She's in episode 3, which I just started. Yeah.
Is the reason you haven't finished it yet because you kept going back and watching her part?
Maybe.
Come on, man.
No.
They've added a new golf. They've added some different commentators. You've got new golf influencers like Paige, who I have not seen.
Any others
yet.
that stand out? Any others that just jumped out to you? Because Paige was the first note I wrote.
Is it the
And
guy
then
the guy in episode 1?
I'm so regretful that I don't remember his name.
Bradford? It's Bradford, right?
Would anybody on the planet start by saying like MN Bradford?
Who is it?
I don't know. It just says golf influencer, but he happens to be melanin advantaged.
Bradford. Oh God, Bradford Wilson. I'm not familiar with his game, and
I am not either.
he is not. He doesn't have a huge following, 22,000, but he is. You know, they'll go to him and he'll give you to play with Tiger Woods, who is arguably the GOAT. Like he'll give you one of those kind of quotes. It's very Dylan Shivery on the NFL Network talking about.
Dude, I crushed that segment.
Who are you talking about?
I was talking about the 30 best runs in NFL history, not one person in particular.
That's right.
Yeah.
What a generic.
Dude, I crushed it. Why they wanted the guy from Total Frat Move to be one of the interviewees on that program, I will never know, but I was happy to do it.
Tony Dorsett busts a 99-yard here on Monday Night Football into the history books, and here we are, Dylan Shiver.
Here's a very hungover Dylan Shivery.
Dude, the most hungover I've ever been in my entire life. Just swollen. It was bad.
That's some tasty meatloaf.
Oh my God. Yeah. So Bradford Wilson, of course. Why is that funny?
I'm looking at the photo of Bradford Wilson, and I was trying to think of who he reminded me of, and it's only going to be a reference you understand, but whatever. Bartender at the record place in Deep Ellum that IJB did shows at Noriel. Looks very similar to this fella here. Again, that's a reference for 2, not worth saying on air.
That is such that is.
But back to your point over like having a very small following. Why?
I don't know. Mix it up. Grow the game.
Sure.
We're growing the
cool.
game.
Call
KJ.
HV3. He does content
He actually plays golf.
and does content.
Okay.
Bryson DeChambeau does golf and plays content.
That's something they mentioned in this is kind of the rise of the social media YouTubeification of golf. Which I'm excited to see more the Bryson specific episodes that we're going to get to. Notice you got your SMU hat on today, so there you go. Yeah, you get a lot of Ludwig.
Lot.
Everybody want to take a crack at his name? He kind of straightens it out for us.
Oberg.
Oberg.
Yeah.
There you go.
Duh.
I've been hammering Aberg for
Nah. Oh,
Weeks.
Oberg,
months.
real ball knowers know. He comes across as really likable and just a. I mean, God, dude, all we do is glaze him on this show. But God, what a just a stud.
good looking man, great golf swing. It's hard not to.
Nice
Humble.
kid.
Seems humble.
Seems like he's got the. I don't mean this in a bad way, but it'll sound really bad. I feel like he's got the ice water sociopath gene. Like I could see him out there just having no mercy. Not he's a killer, right? He's a killer. The guy is. He doesn't seem like anything bothers him.
He talks about his Masters debut when he's on the first tee box. His wife or girlfriend, I'm not sure which, was like, You seemed very calm." He goes, "The outside was very different from what was going on the inside." He said he was an absolute wreck on that first tee box.
Okay.
But I mean, that's your first Masters. That's if you're gonna get nervous, that's when you do it. So
Yeah. Probably hiding some irritable bowels.
yeah, possibly they didn't get into that.
It's Rhea time.
I like the guy. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this show in the first episode gave me everything I felt about the last 2 seasons. And I mean that in the most positive manner and kind of in a negative manner. Positive in the sense of like 5 minutes in, you're like ready for golf season. Like they do a fantastic job with that montage and like reminding you of all the, oh shit, all that happened last year. Here we are.
Yeah.
They unnecessarily sprinkled in Rory's divorce, which was a headline, which was talked about. Didn't need to be a part of the montage at the point in which we know they've like reconciled.
It's tough.
I just felt that was kind of gross. You could do it in the show when you're going to go through the whole thing, but like, why say he's getting a divorce as like a preview when you know they reconciled? That's weird.
Yeah, he was going through the big D. Don't mean Dallas.
But like I was excited about golf.
Don't act
watching
like you don't know that song,
and
Randy.
then we get this show is built on the writers and the golf influencers telling you,
Yeah.
force feed, like hand feeding you the plot line. And then we get a heavy dosing of somebody's spouse or Sigurd. And for this one, it was Ludwig's.
She
did her part.
His girlfriend is a tennis player who also went to tech.
Okay.
So that's what I can tell you about her. And she seems very nice and sweet. And their kids are going to be.
Wow. Jumping ahead.
I'm jumping ahead. They're going to be some power kids there. Neil Shipley's the real deal. There's a lot of people they try to make into Neil Shipley's in these things, like in sports, where it's like, oh, it's all shucks like character, and it's like they really don't have anything. He delivers. I enjoyed the Neil Shipley storyline.
He came off as genuine, for sure.
When they start recording Neil Shipley like behind the scenes, this was before he not qualified, but he made the cut for the Masters.
I thought that was interesting too. 3
Yeah.
weeks before.
Pretty impressive that they like zeroed it on the lone amateur that actually made the cut. And of course would go on to be the low amateur only one make the cut. So of course he did. Yeah, I liked him a lot. He seemed like a solid fella.
How many amateurs are invited? Because I did catch that, like, hey, he was the only one, which was relieving, and then there's still reasons to be nervous. We all remember the memes and the faces that he makes. Seeing this helps me feel better that he's not just a complete tool. Like, he's exactly what you see. Doesn't seem overly bright. Doesn't seem like calculated in any manner, which is kind of what you fear sometimes from like young golf guy. That he's like overly manicured in terms of like how he wants to deliver himself. He's not that, but yeah, I don't know. Something seemed weird about like 5th year senior, quite a bit of access to funds, still has 3 to 4 roommates
His apartment
in like
situation,
a very spare apartment.
it gave me anxiety. His room was just a total wreck. Even at my worst in like college apartments, it never was that bad.
That's a sophomore year apartment. Like not to room raiders the shit out of this. I'm not going to break out a black light. I respect him for letting the cameras in there. But again, he agreed to do this 3 weeks becoming, who he became. So I'm sure post like high am or whatever you call them after the Masters, like
Low am.
he had no opportunity. Oh, fuck. Yeah, that makes sense.
Golf is different.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I understand now. That did sound weird.
I figured you'd know. You recommended.
No, like, yeah, I
you
think I just
recommended
said it
that
in the
is all
previous statement, but this makes sense.
verified amateur.
Anyways, I wonder if he tried to go back and like get that back. Or if he's like, hey, do y'all want to come back out and talk now? And they're like, no. We've got the crusty sock scene. We're good, man. We're good.
That Starbucks order left a little bit to be desired. Morning of the Masters, a little coffee cake.
Is that what he got?
Little coffee cake. I respect the large black coffee. I guess that would be a venti, or would that be a tall? No, that's a grande.
The biggest one is the venti,
Yeah, oh, yeah, he went venti.
20 ounces.
Venti black and a coffee cake. It's my debut single. Catch it now on Spotify.
Tea, black and a coffee cake.
Could go a number of ways.
Okay. KJ, were you doing that viral video?
1,000%.
Okay.
That's just what
5'3"
it
and
sounded like
attitude.
when
Yeah,
Dave said
that one.
Don't they like shouldn't he have known there was probably refreshments and coffee available on the premises?
You know him, man. He loves his Starbs.
Okay. So maybe it was angling for a little support, a little fundage, either on Netflix's behalf or his own.
Maybe. That's a really good point. You'd think that anything he needed would be taken care of by the good people at Augusta National.
He's like, able to go in the big house, right? Like there's not like a exclusionary policy for him.
That's a
For,
great
like,
question.
Condoleezza and others.
The amateur guys have to stay. They definitely sleep.
Bird's nest, right?
Yeah. I don't know what I'm assuming they get full locker room access like anybody else, but as far as like sleeping arrangements and stuff.
Yeah, they're on premises.
Yeah.
Do you think they get like the mouthwash in the like after the shower, like the little cups and everything? They have access to that, or is that like, pros and
And
members?
the club man aftershave and all that stuff.
The old school. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm sure they do, man. I don't know if they
Barbasol.
have traditional locker room showers at Augusta National, but they might. I don't know.
Oh,
They very
here's
well
Fred
could.
Couples just 1 foot up on the bench right next to you, unnecessarily letting it dangle.
Gary Player walking around, just fucking nuts hanging to the floor.
I hope Fred Couples is alive. I'm sorry.
Yes, Fred Couple's alive and well. He had a quote today.
Sandy
Oh,
Lyle.
he's only
just
65.
coming out of the steam room, just fucking nothing,
Oh yeah.
just plopping his,
We should rank the green jacket winners who would be most likely to be naked locker room guy.
Yeah.
Because naked locker room guys change. It's like back in the day, you hear like the Mickey Mantle stories, like old ball players, like probably old golfer. You know Arnie. Now that we know everything we know about Arnie, right? Like these guys are just walking around dong out, and it was like a power move. Now it's just like, God damn. Now it's a little bit, frowned upon.
I'm not sure if Vern Lundquist, I know he retired, but he's ultimate like steam room guy for me.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
Like he fits the bill of someone who just lives in the steam room, covers up as little as possible when he leaves the steam room, and just dick out all the time.
Dude, there's some golfers out there just have some stories about old Vern.
Oh yeah.
Seeing that old Vern hanging out.
Vern's not letting you get away with shit either, though. Like he seems like he's looking to be disgruntled half the time. Like that's just his natural disposition. But he strikes me as like the guy that if you left even a speck of stubble in the sink and he was to use it after you, like he's letting you hear about it. He's not telling anybody. He's walking up to you, real disgruntled.
Oh man. Yeah, I would like to see that. Augusta gives Full Swing some good access. You got to see the guys signing in. I thought that was cool. I know it's like it's very lame to be like that into the Masters guy, but like that is cool. Seeing the dudes just show up, sign their name, and then I'd like to see what the locker room situation looks like. I would love to see the Augusta National men's showers, not with people in them, but just I'd like to see
Yeah.
what that facility looks like. Do they have
Of
a cold
course.
plunge? They got a cold plunge?
Not with people.
Dude, that's an old school place. They don't have that kind of shit there.
You don't think they're cold? You don't have like a hyperbaric chamber?
Dude,
for-
they have like high school locker room style showers with the one pole with like the 5 heads coming off.
Oh
and shit.
God.
I thought you were gonna say like they have like clawfoot tubs, and then just you think of what you think the person looks like. Somebody showing up with buckets of ice, dumping it in there by hand, and then coming back, bucket at a time.
Sure.
Okay.
The Golden Throat. The Golden Throat's a fucking awesome nickname. Shouts to Vern. Sorry. Was shocked by the fact that I learned that he went to Texas Lutheran and Austin High School. Weren't sure if you were aware of that.
Did not know.
Yeah.
You didn't know the Golden Throat went to Austin High?
Did you?
No.
Okay.
I knew he was a Texas
I do need to
guy.
verify it's not Austin, Minnesota. There's a possibility since he was born in Duluth. No, Austin, Texas. The Golden Throat, local boy.
How about that?
You might see that Vern at a lifetime sooner than you think.
That's right.
Who was that old broad you introduced me to a few years back? Golden Throat.
Vanna White.
Come on, man.
You doing?
Okay.
No, you said she was a classically trained opera singer.
No.
Old Nancy Reagan.
It wasn't Nancy Reagan. She's been dead for years. Jeez, this guy. Yeah. So the majority of this is Ludwig, Neil, and Scotty. Scotty wins. That's cool. It's a nice refresher in like what happened a year ago. Like KJ said, it got me all bricked up for the Masters though.
Yeah. That's my main takeaway from the show is that like I know I can feel the Masters coming, but
Oh yeah.
this is like it's almost here. And it gets me horned.
That's the job of the show, I think. I
Yeah.
think they're like, they go in there and they're like, look, Augusta National's like, we'll give you this access. You got to get these guys bricked up
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah. The timing of the show is well planned.
Yeah. Because we weren't all
Quick question.
watching The Cognizant yesterday, watching Jake Knapp meltdown.
Mm. After a 59 on Friday?
59, yeah.
Quick question. I think we got this last year, so may answer it, but waste management precedes the Masters, obviously. And it's one of the first like tournaments of the year where attention starts to be paid, usually for the wrong reasons, unless somebody aces. Don't tell me if I get this. I'm 17?
I think it's
Is that the
16.
grandstand hole?
I think it's
Yeah.
16. Is it 17?
16. It is 16.
Ah, shit. I was close. I was very close. I was going to go 17 or 14, but either one wrong.
Yeah, 16.
Anyways, that's the one we usually get first. And I think season one led off with like that level of excitement because I think we got like Brooks at Waste Management and like doing his whole storyline. Last year, they shifted around because it was Ryder Cup year. This year, we didn't get any of that. I don't remember what happened at last year's Waste Management. I know it was the beginning of when they're like, hey, we're going to start fucking dialing back a little bit on the alcohol situation here because we had people yelling at the crowd. So maybe we'll get it later. I was sad to have missed out on that. I felt like there was just a lot of edging in this episode, which is understandable for Ep1. Rory workouts. That was the other thing. I'm sorry. That was my one note I didn't get to. 3 straight years, Roy demands the cameras to meet him in the fucking unit or in the temporary workout unit. And I'm going to stand on like, that's not an accident.
No. He wants people to know.
That's the Jones family demanding art be talked about on national broadcasts at the Cowboy Stadium.
It's
like, every season.
It's funny.
It's either
TGL did an interview with him, and he was in the weight room, like in the last week or so. Like they went in and like they sent their guy in. What's our dude's name with the hair? Southern guy.
Yeah.
Marty?
I just watched
Marty.
the cornhole tournament yesterday. Yeah,
Got it.
Marty.
Yeah.
I like that guy.
Yeah, he's good, and he goes in there, and Rory's like, kind of acting surprised. It's like, dude, you're clearly got a pump. Like he got his
he's all vascular
his
and shit.
nos in his system. Yeah,
Which if he was the person to say like the only time you're going to get him is in the weight room, yeah. But Rory's doing sit downs. Rory's doing the TGL like sitting on the panel weeks at a time, so he's accessible.
It reminds
It's
me
just strange.
when the Mavs, when Mark Cuban first bought the Mavs, like the first 5 years, like the news would go to get a comment from him, and he would give comment from an elliptical.
Stairmaster.
Stairmaster, yeah. Like he would be like, given the quote, he wouldn't stop to give the quote. He would give it while doing the Stairmaster. And you're like, okay,
Dude, chill out for a
we
sec.
get it, dude.
You work out, man.
Please try it. I was hoping you're going to give it.
Yeah. That's my Cuban on the Stairmaster impression.
So Donnie and I were talking. I can't think of a subject matter without getting frustrated. But yes, whatever. It's
No. Yeah, no, we're
full
driving.
swing. I'm all in. I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, we're gonna keep watching it. Watch it with us. I'm excited. And Paige,
Maybe
will be on
they'll settle Liv and PJ. That has to happen in this season, all right?
there. It feels
I
like we were
don't
going on
seriously
5 years of them almost having a deal. And I know it's only been like 3 since this all went down. But God, dude, if I have to hear that they're close, if I have to hear another meeting where Tiger's flying out, they're tracking his jet, Rory's going to be there, the head of the PIF, some Saudi prince is going to be there. It's just nothing ever. And then today you mentioned Freddie Couples. Freddie had a quote like, look, I'm friends with Brooks. I love Brooks. Brooks wants to be back on tour. He wants to play. So that's something. But that's not shocking. You know these guys want back in.
Yeah. Because no one fucking watches them play.
No.
Somebody's coming back though. You want to break that news? I know we're way over on what we plan to do here on this, but
Break the
I don't know if you
news.
saw the news that old BDC Bryson himself decided to not renew his live contract. I think he requested like 270 or something crazy. And Saudi Piff didn't match it, but apparently he's like a year out from returning, and that'll be the first test of like, what about the guys that stayed in reparations? Which we can bitch about that another time. I will particularly hold the line of like, you make good business decisions or you don't. Whether or not we agree with them, you get what you get.
They're all going to want to return at some point. This has been a failure. I mean, the Live has been a failure. I think we can all say that now.
The product, yeah. The decision and like the effort and the attempt, I don't hate it. It changed the PGA.
Oh, I absolutely hate it.
Like I don't
absolutely
hate it. Like I hate that it had to happen. You know what I mean?
The
But I think if I'm the players, like
non-major
they've benefited.
professional golf is every field is just completely watered down, and I just don't give a shit at all anymore. Like it's ruined non-majors for me completely. I don't even care anymore. I hate it.
Well,
I
what
forgot.
about when they do like 4 auto bids for like the 2 biggest conferences?
Okay.
Sorry, different thing was getting absolutely food. Skullfuck. Sorry, I don't know.
Scoo food.
Scoo food?
No one's doing scoo food.
No one's doing scoo food.
That is
Scoo food.
unreal.
Scoo food.
Hey, good time. Let's talk about our good friends at Rowback real quick. You know we got a code. You know you like Rowback. You know you want to load that card up one time and use this one time use only code. Worded weird. We could probably do a better job of this. Just go to Rowback. Get
Washed
you a hat,
20.
Hoss. Washed 20. Washed 20.
Get you a hat. Get you some grit gym shorts, which they just dropped on us, and they're fire.
I was
love
wearing them over the weekend.
They have a liner that is, some liners out there are not like too constricting, too tight. These are very, very soft. Just enough support. They're great. Highly recommend the grit gym short. And of course, polo season is here. Golf season is here. Load up on polos. Again, it is a one-time use code. So you're gonna want to get your money's worth there.
Do
Load
it.
that card up.
Load it up. You can get, look, it's, they've got the officially licensed collegiate gear. I saw
Game day collection.
they dropped some Texas Tech stuff over the last week. Speaking of Ludwig, you know me, I'm
One
right.
more?
Yeah, I do want more.
I'm sorry. I don't know if we've talked about this because I know you're going to kindly represent the ponies. SMU's on that list. Texas Tech's on that list. Baylor Bears are on that list. So if you don't have a Baylor Bear set up right now, they're definitely on that list. Florida State, Ohio State, Kentucky, Vatech, Nebraska, LSU. Like they are banging right now.
I saw we just got another 4-star down here in Waco. Yeah, so check them out. Use it one time. Washed 20. Again, washed 20 one-time use code at Rollback. Okay, where do you want to go from here? Oh, combine. We were combining here last week.
Yeah, I always enjoy the combine, especially when 14 of my Longhorns get invited. A lot of Longhorn action in this one, but we're not going to start there. We'll start with quarterbacks. Cam Ward, Shador did not throw. Will Howard unfortunately did throw, and it didn't look great. He's getting dragged all over the TL for just being very inaccurate with his throws, which is unfortunate. You hate to see that. Jackson Dart was a standout. Had a really good combine. Quinn was probably right there in the upper tier as far as just accuracy, hitting the route tree. So he probably made himself a little bit of money. Will Campbell, left tackle, LSU, widely regarded as the number one tackle in the draft, projected to be top 10. Athletic, however, very short arms and small hands. It turns out arms are 32 and 5/8, which is for a left tackle very, very short. And hands, 9.5 inches.
He's 6'6" with 32-inch arms.
6'5". What is it? Okay, so it says 6057. What is that? Is that 6'5.7" inches? What does that mean? Do we know?
Oh. Yeah, we're just gonna go with 6'5" and some change.
We'll call him 6'5 and a half.
Honestly, I don't know. What I was trying to think what the fraction 7/8 is probably
His
the answer
hands,
there, but I don't know.
His hands at 9.5 for perspective are smaller than mine. I'm 9.75, which I do have big hands for my size, but I mean I'm not a left tackle.
Hey, Daddy.
Kelvin Banks, also 6'5", longer arms at 33.5 and 10 3/8 inch hands.
How far realistically does the hand and arm thing? How many draft boards does that move him down on?
I don't know. I mean, arm length is very important for a left tackle.
That makes
It
sense.
is. So yeah, he might be the second tackle. Kelvin Banks may have jumped him here, which is exciting for me.
That'll be an interesting comp, like in 5 years when you look back, if they've had very different career paths, or if Will Campbell is everything you think he's going to be, and he somehow slides.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh yeah, maybe that extra half inch on his hands. I guess it's probably more than that actually. But still, those are small hands.
Yeah,
I would know. I've got very average hands
for a big dude like that.
If he's playing on the edge, he's got to be, he's got to have those Micah Parsons types running by him.
Yeah.
With those little baby arms out there, those little baby hands. It's tough.
The arm length is certainly I think that's the easiest thing to understand, that it's going to impact your viability as a left tackle, just because, I think of Tyron Smith as one of those people where the arm length and wingspan is insane. Tyron Smith, I'm sorry, I'm getting the fucking names mixed up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tyron Smith, former Cowboys left tackle. If he was 6'5", whatever, 6'6", his wingspan was the equivalent of a 7'1".
Yeah, he was
person.
if you're going to design a creative player at left tackle, it's going to look like Tyron Smith. That's ideal.
And that 6 inches is a meaningful amount of space between the hands of a defensive end of reaching over your shoulder and grabbing a quarterback's shoulder pad and not that's very simple and clear to get that through your head. The hand size thing, I don't know. I've never heard that talked about with tackles. I assume you got Tez Johnson's numbers too.
I don't. What did Tez Johnson do?
Tez Johnson, former, where did he come from? A&M?
We're talking Oregon receiver?
Oregon wide receiver Tez Johnson. I know they had an A&M guy out there, but I don't think it's him. I apologize for not knowing Tez's background. But Tez, who went into the draft as, I don't know, maybe a top 10 wide receiver. One of the notable, Alabama. Why didn't I know this? One of the notable things about him, by Alabama, I mean Troy, Alabama, was that, first off, he ran a 4.5, which you're that's not jumping out anybody. Maybe you had a bad day. Ran 2 4.5s. Okay, that's unfortunate. I don't know that I ever saw Tez Johnson in a game and understood the style of receiver that he was, but smaller and lighter than Devontae Smith. Clocked in at, one moment, let me get the official numbers back.
Jeez.
5. 1 second here. Stick with me. I just clicked off of something. 4'5", 40, but also weighed in at 154 pounds. And I want to say was 5'7".
Is he
I'm
lucky
sorry,
gonna
5'9".
be an
5'9",
undrafted free
154.
agent now?
The
Like,
lightest
that's bad.
at the combine.
That's legitimately, those are my measurements.
That's concerning.
No other wide receiver weighed under 170. Or I'm sorry, let me back up. No other wide receiver under 170 has run slower than what he did.
And he should have chosen not to run. That's tough.
Might have been sick. Who knows? Like, he was 10 pounds less than he did at the Senior Bowl. Somebody else came back. Jalen Milroe had like the reverse Kenny Pickett. There was a lot of talk about Jalen Milroe's hands being small coming out of the Senior Bowl for his size. I don't know what the measurements were, but his hands measured like 3.5 inches. It's different at the combine than they did at the Senior Bowl. And I was wondering if it's kind of like those jaw exercises you've been trying to get me on. If it's like people are doing hand stretches. Like
maybe
how that works.
maybe he did the OJ and stopped taking his arthritis medication. Yeah, we watched the doc.
Back to my Longhorns. There some gamesmanship going on. We had Isaiah Bond, receiver for Texas, and Jaden Blue, running back for Texas. Both very fast guys. Both of them said that they were going to break Xavier Worthy's combine record of a 4.21. They both said that. Isaiah Bond, like, yeah, I've been training, I've been running some 4.2 flats, so I'm gonna get out there, I'm gonna break the record. 4.39, which is a good time, obviously, but he didn't sniff Xavier Worthy. Jaden Blue, 4.38. Again, very, very fast for a running back, but you can't talk that ish if you're gonna be that far off from the record.
Slow track,
It
maybe.
makes you kind of look like a clown a little bit. However, Matthew Golden, Texas wide receiver, he's the one who caught that 4th and 13 play against Arizona State, had a fantastic latter half of the season, more so than the first half of the season, but great receiver. He was climbing up. His stock was on the rise before the combine, saying he's like a fringe first rounder. Dude ran a 4.29. So he's he could be wide receiver 1. The dude from Arizona, I can never remember how to say his name.
Scatterboat.
No, Arizona, the receiver.
Fuck me.
Noah.
Noah.
Tritora?
Nope, not Noah.
Tritora, something.
Yes.
Anyway, he didn't perform at the combine, so he was considered wide receiver 1. So we'll see what happens, but happy for him. 4.29, that's a big number.
So there were some notables we were following. So we had future friend of the show, Jaquindon Jackson, who did not run a 40. I assume he'll run it at his pro day here in a few weeks. Had good position workout. Listed at, I think, 6'2", 230. This is a running back. Something happened within the NFC East that I just think might be a domino. So the 49ers traded Deebo Samuel, 29 years old, maybe at the end of his prime, right? People are wondering, but I feel like he's got a couple years left. He's a guy who plays very physical style. Gets traded to the Commanders for 5th round pick. Okay. So if there's one thing I know about Jerry Jones, is he is quick to react when something like that happens. So if there's like a trend, if like, let's say, for some reason, tight ends, they started lining up. The next thing you saw 2 teams have success with, like flipping guys who played guard into tight ends. Jerry would be like 6 months later would be all over that. Be like, well, because we're usually a little bit late on something like that. Well, what if I told you that there is a Deebo available in this draft, and he's probably going to be he's definitely going to be there day 2, maybe day 3.
You saying Jaquindon is a Deebo type of player?
What if that player also went to the alma mater of Jerry Jones?
Yeah, that has merit.
And
he does love a Razorback.
What if that team of that specific general manager is in desperate need of running backs? All I'm saying is somebody's gonna get Jaquindon Jackson out of Duncanville, Texas, out of the University of Texas, Utah, in Arkansas. Somebody's going to get him, and they're going to figure out a way to use him. And that's a big physical dude, 6'2", 230. I think I'm very interested to see what his 40 looks like. I know he ran track in high school, which isn't like a super crazy thing. But just saying, things are lining up. If he's there day 3, I would not be shocked if he ended up with a star on his helmet. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
And I don't want you to clip this yet, but Randy, here in a couple months, you may have to come back and clip that if it happens.
I'll write it down here.
This is all me.
Jaquindon,
Of course,
15.
Debo is a receiver first, running back second.
Right.
Do you think Jaquindon has similar ball skills, route running in him?
He did a little bit of it at Arkansas. Some might say not enough. He was primarily used as his yards. He's some crazy number yards after contact, and yards after getting contact behind the line of scrimmage. So he was mainly used as a power back, but he was still RB1. So yeah, I think you could do that. I mean, he caught some passes. He looked good. I don't know. We'll see. That would be fun, and it's a decent comp.
Might I offer you another name? I was trying to check Debo's stats, 40 time. Debo ran a 4.48. I don't know why in my head I'm like, Debo's one of those like 4.2 guys, 4.3 guys.
Mm-hmm.
He plays very fast. He's extremely quick, but maybe he's just agile and extremely athletic and looks fast. One, Brashard Smith.
Oh, had a day.
Running back, formerly wide receiver at Miami before transferring over to SMU. Ran a 4.39. Put on an absolute clinic. Looked quick. He's 5'9". I think 210 is what he weighed in, somewhere around there. But with every bone in my body, I hope that he does not get drafted by the Cowboys. I would not be able to mentally deal with that.
We'll put you in a
I
tough
don't know.
spot.
It would. I would have to be much more mild in my critique of the star, or I'd have to just be like, you know what, Brashard, you gave me 1 year as a fan. That was enough for me. I'll move on. Enjoy Frisca.
Anything else on the combine? Any other storylines?
It's such good content, like not for our show. It's such good television, and it should not be. Because everything about it, like you could sit there and explain to yourself, like, this matters, but it doesn't. Like every player here has a makeup test coming up with their pro day, and they could choose to opt out or not. And like there's so many fabricated storylines, and you know you're like grasping at straws for a lot of stuff. I watched at least 2 videos over talking about how much Quinn, you were sitting there clipping his nails, like while waiting on throwing passes, which had to do with nothing. Who gives a shit? And he overthrew one player on one route, and they're like, Quinn Ewers looking shaky on the day. And then you go read any article about how he performed. It's like, he did great.
Yeah.
And so like, it's just one of those things where like, I'm just so hard up for football news that I will watch this every single year because it's timed perfectly, and that won't change. I'm happy it's here. Happy to talk it. No dicks fell out, unfortunately. We'll wait another year.
Yeah. Glaring lack of that. Glaring lack of floppers.
One other thing. I'm sorry. I was going to say there were no major injuries, but did you see the melon that came out of freaking
Gunnar Helm?
Gunnar Helm's ankle?
God.
Dude, he did that before he ran, like when his false start on his first 40.
The most...
Didn't say a word about it the rest of the combine, even though he had a very poor showing. Didn't look agile, didn't look fast. Like, what's wrong with this guy? He's like not an athlete. Turns out he had a tennis ball on the side of his ankle the whole fucking time and didn't tell a soul. And I guess his agent, doing what agents are supposed to do, let everyone know, like, hey, just so you know, this is what was going on with this dude. Since he's not going to tell you, I'm going to do it for him.
I can just imagine the agent like in his hotel room, like, no. Fucking show me the ankle now. Like,
Yeah.
Mighty Ducks ass hiding your fucking injury.
Where was he projected?
Round 2 to 4, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like he did enough in the playoff run.
He's probably like 3rd or 4th tight end off the board, I think. Somewhere in there.
He won't be the first out on the Green Bay stage for sure. Sorry, that's me shoehorning in that the draft is here. I'm trying to remind myself of it weekly.
Oh yeah, where are they doing it?
At Lambeau, it will be a shit show, but Lambeau's beautiful, so I'm sure they'll make it look right. But every video and every story about the town, it's just going to highlight like how much of a small town it is, and it's just going to be like, oh, nobody wants to go there. Like, yeah, people don't, except for the stadium's gorgeous. Okay, anyways, can we do this flag football story? Because I kind of want to talk that, or
So-
7-on-7.
So during the Super Bowl, you saw like a commercial and a big push for the initiative that the NFL is behind to get girls flag football 7-on-7 at the high school level as a varsity sport. And to open Women's History Month, which I was aware of because, of course, I have as many ally points on the board as anybody out there.
Of course.
The Cowboys announced the formation of a regional high school girls flag football league across the state. How about that? They got Dak out there pushing it, so we are going to have that. And this is DISD. This is Duncanville's going to have a team. Fort Worth, Arlington, Austin, AISD. None of the Houston schools. Maybe the Houston schools. I guess the Texans will be taking that initiative. But
Yeah.
I don't hate this. I don't know why you would hate it or have a strong opinion on it either way. But like, this would be a lot of fun. In high school, I could see. So Duncanville had a really, really still does a good girls basketball team. And like, dude, everybody from the boys basketball team and everybody who went to the boys teams were going to the girls games, and they were a blast. And I could
girls track.
Oh my gosh. Dude, this is gonna be a thing. And I remember being kind of skeptical when like the Super Bowl was rolling around, but this is interesting.
A couple contextual items. Women's flag football will be at the Olympics in whatever that'll be 2028. So this is a slow ramp to capitalize on that popularity. I also love the note from the article the Cowboys put out about this from the press conference, the Dallas ISD superintendent, Dr. Stephanie Elizade. Her quote, "My only regret is that they did not have girls flag football when I was growing up in Laredo. I was pretty good at ballet, but I bet I would have been even better at quarterback."
Yeah.
What an awesome quote to just fucking like, I'm happy for these girls, but I would have fucking torched some hoes in the past.
You girls are lucky. I was too busy doing ballet.
Fucking Rowdy shouldn't be within 100 feet of these women. Anyway, sorry. I'm looking at this image of these wonderful high schoolers prepared for a big day.
You see Kelsey Plume? She's got nothing on my arm. I was doing pirouettes down Laredo way, down Border way. Pirouettes a thing, right?
Yeah, for sure. As we are both wedded to women who really love that ballet stuff. The one thing that I don't think people are factoring in here is this is not powder puff. And I think that's a lot of people mentally probably go back to, like whatever blondes versus brunettes or powder puff or intramural experience they have with like women playing 7-on-7 or flag football. This is not that. Like, you're going to see not as far, not as fast. Like, you're going to see a passing game. You're going to see some athleticism, pretty impressive juking ability. And the Dallas flag football scene, I think I've talked about it several years in a row, or several times, is extremely competitive, both men's and women's. The quarterback for the national team came from leagues that I previously played in. I've watched her torch men's teams, just playing quarterback for men's teams, And the other part of this is I don't want to see it, but we're about to see a lot of videos of girls fighting. It's going to happen.
Oh, no.
More than girls basketball, it's going to happen. And I don't want to see it at high school level, but as we progress to professional leagues and, semi-pro leagues and stuff like that, I'm excited for this. I would send my daughter to a flag football team tryout at 5 to 7. So probably before I sent my son down that path, if that says anything.
Yeah. Well, the sun, yeah, because that's a gateway into actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's an
that-
off ramp for one. I don't think I have to
Yeah.
worry about that.
I got you. All right. And last thing I've got, shout out to Jimmy Johnson, officially retired from Fox.
So that weird AI video they showed
Yes.
before the Super Bowl. It was the Super Bowl,
Yes.
wasn't it?
Was
It was the precursor for the retirement.
yeah, the timing is weird. I'm like, why didn't? I guess maybe he didn't want to make it about him. I don't know. It seems like
It's like
the announcement-
contracts end at like end of February or some shit.
Yeah. So, any idea who they're going to replace him with? Do we know?
Don't know.
Gronk. I hope they need to dial back the numbers on these panels. I don't think Gronk's the person. Gronk's fine for somebody who stares in the camera when they shouldn't. But
Okay.
for all of these shows, like they've grown to like 7 or 8 people at a time, and it's just a shit show.
So
4, maybe 5, but 4, cap it.
Terry Bradshaw sticking around.
God, please.
Terry's gonna keep on doing it, huh? Just
We
saying.
somehow like sent Skip Holtz, not Skip, poor Skip, Lou Holtz into like retirement quietly at some point. Maybe the pandemic did it without a big fanfare. We're still holding on with Corso over on the college front, but geez, I would have signed up for 5 more years of Jimmy for 2 less of Terry.
Jimmy still sounds great. He's 81.
Jeez, that's
Jimmy's got all the energy in the world, man.
Hall of Fame hair.
That doesn't the best hair in football.
If Pete Carroll wasn't back coaching, I would have been okay with Pete Carroll on a panel. I don't think he's ever done TV. Yeah, if Gruden didn't know how to write emails, he probably would have ended up in one of these roles.
Barstool, he's there at Barstool. So
Oh yeah, that's true.
he kind of
Nobody
did.
really ever.
You see the Buccaneers, they added him back to
Bears.
like the Ring of Honor or whatever it was, like the last few days.
Yeah,
They revoked it when all that shit happened. They're like, you know what? You're back in, bud.
It's a 4-year sentence for saying a black person has big lips in an email.
Ah, yes.
It's just so silly, like just like the Pete Rose thing,
Among other slurs.
Like, among others. Like don't act like there's a line if you're going to change your mind, especially post-mortem in the Pete Rose situation. What I'm referring to is Rob Manfred's been quoted saying like he's looking into being able to reinstate Pete Rose or like remove him from the exclusion list that would allow him to be like voted into the Hall of Fame. I'm like, yeah, real convenient as like baseball is wondering who the hell's going to show our games, as ESPN's been like, yeah, not us. So I don't know. Bring Pete Rose back, bring PEDs back, bring POD back, and baseball will be fixed. All of those things.
POD is not coming back, dude.
Yeah, Big Justice featuring POD at the next home run derby. I want it.
They are from the School of Hard Knocks. People want to just ignore that.
Here comes the boom.
Boom.
There you go, Randy. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, Youth of the Nation.
Youth of the Nation, not Youth of the Nation.
No, yeah, Youth of the Nation.
Randy just picks his spots like a sniper.
I pulled up this Bradford Wilson guy. I was just going through his account.
Yeah.
Is he would you consider him the Trevor Noah of golf?
Okay, that's a joke for. There's very few people who understand why that's funny.
It's one of the funniest things I've ever been told, up until the moment that I learned about the Sia thing. But like, anyways, whatever. We'll save it for another day.
Oh God.
Well,
All right, let's run it back.
Of course, that is a segment during which we talk about what we already talked about. The teenage biker gang in the Zilker neighborhood is not to be messed with. Dave had his wife sneak in loaves of bread and garlic under her overcoat when he was in prison. Rory was going through the Big D, don't mean Dallas. Dylan did not introduce Dave to an old gal named Golden Throat. No one's doing skoo food.
Skoo food.
Jaquin and Jackson did not run at the combine, but will at the pro day. No dicks fell out at the combine, unfortunately. And that concludes Run It Back.
Now that's a show.
Oh,
There
yeah.
is a show. All right. All right. Well, remember, hit the dip line, 888-618-4422. Yeah, it's the pipeline, but it's also the dip line. It can do both. Get you a hotline that can do both. Until
Nobody
then,
would have ever known.
there's overlap. Deal with it. Bye.
Bye bye.